Hello everybody, welcome to Path of Exile. So let's call this part 1 of the walkthrough. Obviously previous to this, we've gone through the resources and things that you can use to kind of help yourself as you're going through. From here, I'm unsure as to exactly how I'm going to break each of the parts and areas down, but I figure we might as well start with character creation. This is my summon walkthrough. I probably should have said guide on the end of it. This is going to be what I kind of use just to kind of make sure I've got it down, what I want you guys to do. Obviously I've got this one here which I may bring in just to kind of show you guys some later stuff. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and go into create. So before you get to character creation, you're going to be faced with three things. You've got hardcore harvest. So the harvest thing that we're seeing right here, right now, is the current league. This works as a season, changes every 3 months. If you want to go into a league, you'll need to start a new character each league. And often they'll have new game mechanics. It's worth giving these a go. The developers tend to keep track of these, and ones that are popular or effective or good go into the standard league at the end of the league. Standard league is like basically where all of this goes. So at the end of the league, your character will come from the main current league, go into standard. Obviously, you can go into hardcore mode, which is a little bit like the Diablo one, except your character doesn't get deleted. Simply goes into being a standard character should the character die. I think it's more of a prestige thing. I don't think it gives you any bonuses or anything. So entirely up to you guys if that's something you guys want to play with. Sorry, just thought my dog was crying. So with that being said, we're going to go and harvest. I'm actually going to use solo self-found just because I intend for this character to kind of play on its own. This is basically if you want to play the game solo. This game is, as you might imagine, much like Diablo. Entirely doable on your own. I mean, playing with friends is great. If you guys want to play with people, feel free to drop a comment in our guild chat, which there is a link to in the description below to our Discord server. There's quite a lot of stuff in there. Just scroll down to the Path of Exile chat box and you'll be able to ask for an invite and we'll get you in. So with that done, obviously you're going to be faced with the selection of characters. If you guys don't know, I highly recommend looking at the previous video in this playlist. Should be pretty easy for you to find. In fact, maybe I'll provide a link. But essentially just kind of work out which character you want to start with. I'll probably ignore the... In fact, the sign's not even there, which is fine. Which I'm surprised at, because I have actually gone quite far. But we have the Templar, which is basically like a health/caster. We have the Duelist, who is kind of DPS rogue type build. We have Quintessential Barbarian. We have are you the Duelist? This guy is like your warrior type. We've got the Ranger, and we got the... can't remember. Anyway, we'll go with the Witch. We're going to call you something stupidly obvious, like... Joe Hammer summons. So something that's not been taken, right? That's half of the challenge here, because obviously you keep all of your old characters as they go into the previous things, and so there's names that are quite difficult to get. We're going to skip all this. So before you do anything else, if you've followed my previous video, you guys will know we have our filters just here. Now, even if you haven't downloaded one, there is in fact a standard filter here, and this will just give you better than not having a filter at all. Highly recommend doing this. It's going to make it way easier for picking up the correct loot. I'm actually going to go through with strict, and I'm going to do this even without picking items off of my other characters or anything like that. The other thing I might use is things like identification scrolls, just because they're going to be all over the floor, and I'm probably not going to pick them anyway. Just to kind of be a little bit quicker. The reason I'm going to go through on strict is because you guys are going to see that I'm not actually going to get that many items highlight for me to pick up, and so I'm actually going to end up going through on less items, although the few that I end up picking up will probably be quite good. So that being said, we're going to go and talk to this guy. This is going to essentially tell us how to attack an enemy, right? You equip a weapon, and then you click on an enemy usually, and that's going to send an attack out. Now, I highly recommend trying to use something that you don't need to target enemies with. You want to kind of just be able to throw something out and have it do what you want it to do. So whether that's like a thing that you click and it does like an AoE, or as we're going to be doing here, we're going to be doing heavily minion based. That way we can kind of run around and survive whilst the stuff that we summon takes everything out. So of course, the default here is going to be that Fireball is going to come over onto this left hand side. You can in fact... and I don't know exactly all of the skills that can do this, but you can in fact move around with it on the move button. But as well as that, I can then click on this and fire it. The only problem with that is if I misclick, I'm going to end up moving towards enemies. It's up to you guys whether or not you think that's a good idea. So we're going to put Arcane Surge here. I'm going to explain more about this later, but this is a linked skill. Okay, there's not that much explanation here. It doesn't really tell you much about what it's doing, but effectively what's happening is it's giving us a small improvement. And now we'll get much more powerful ones later. I'm not really a fan of Arcane Surge, even though it can be good for casters. So we're going to continue moving along. I highly recommend actually that you guys clear each of the areas completely. And I know that some of the people on my channel, some of the people that have kind of been playing in Path of Exile for a lot longer are going to hate me saying it. Although actually, generally he does... Tiwaz, who is kind of the most knowledgeable person that's on the channel at the moment, this kind of thing, does actually recommend that you take it slowly the first time through. But just bear in mind, right, it's a good idea to strike a balance between clearing an area completely and using loads of time in it. If you're enjoying that, then keep on doing it. But if you're trying to progress and improve your character at the fastest rate possible, moving forward as quickly as you can is the quickest way to progress. So unless you come across a roadblock that you really can't get past, then you should just kind of keep on surging forward. But in the interest of continuing to show things, then let's go ahead and kill some of this anyway, just so it's not going to attack me. So this may be the first time that some people see the passives tree. Obviously, depending on which class you have chosen, you'll start in a different area. Because we intend to be going minion heavy, we're going to move along this part just here. Now, I intend on actually having quite a lot of energy shield, but these three here aren't actually all that valuable. So we're going to come here. This is going to make us a little bit tough to kill, as you'll see. Kind of nice. We'll have a bit more energy shield there as well, which is kind of nice, as well as the minions that we're about to get in a minute will be a bit better. And then we'll just go through this. By the time we get to level 10, so anybody that happens to surge straight past this once we've kind of been through the first episode, I intend for us to have these points here. We're going to slip across to Minion Life, Lord of the Dead, and then we're going to go up for Arcane Will, which is going to essentially have us end up with a rather decent sized shield and quite strong minions. This is going to be particularly important once we get our main attack skill, which is going to be, for those of you that want to keep an eye out for it, is going to be Summon Raging Spirits. So here we're going to be Lionized Watch. This is the first time here. We're going to have quite a few NPCs to look at. I'm surprised we're seeing players, because I thought I put this on single player. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and talk to everybody like this. It's going to give us some quests. Looks Tockley. So because, again, we're going with a Summoner here, I haven't picked anything up to equip anything with, it's kind of funny. But I'm going to continue working this way, okay? So my gear probably is not going to look as ideal as it should, but I feel like that's a good idea just for kind of proving the point that I want to make. So out of these, I'm going to be picking Ray Zombie. This is going to allow me to bring some zombies up. And because I don't really care about Arcane Surge all that much, I'm going to take that off. Just so you guys can see what that does. Arcane Surge, after getting Arcane Surge after spending a total of 15 mana with support skills, Arcane Surge grants 10% more damage, 10% more cast speed. Now, I don't intend on actually needing any spell damage whatsoever, because there is a spell that acts like an attack spell, but is in fact minions. So we're not really going to need that all that much. Obviously, here we have our first magic item. It's blue. There are several rarities of item. There is white, which is base. Often, once you get to a high level, you'll be crafting from these. Blue is a magic item, has a couple of magic properties on it usually. Yellow is rare. This is often what you want to be looking for things that you want to pick up off the ground. And then you have like an orange, which is unique. I can actually show you some unique because we have quite a few. So actually have increased cast speed. It's kind of handy. It's not amazing. Better than nothing. Oh, I can't actually go into the guild stash. It's kind of funny. Let's put all my stuff at the end. Why has it done that? That's really weird. Oh, because it's solo founded, it hasn't given me all my previous stuff. That's actually kind of nice that it isolates me from everything. That way you guys know that I'm not kind of trying to think. That means I am going to have to pick up scrolls. Oh dear. I can't show you any uniques, but what I would say about uniques is they have orange. They look impressive usually, and they're kind of cool. But I would recommend trying not to rely on them when you find them. They're usually not as good as the red counterparts, but they do sometimes have something interesting that you might want to incorporate into a build. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I need to say for part 1. Other than, would you come in here, you can't actually go back to the beach. So if you wanted to power up a little bit in there, maybe you can do that. Lina has what she's done. We're going to be moving on to, I think it's like beachfront. I can't remember this entrance is actually called as the coast. Okay. So we're going to break here. I feel like this is a decent part one. You guys now know how to equip items. So what I didn't speak about is links. I can't show you that. What I can do is go to login screen. Not login screen. Let me show you on here, right? So just so you guys can see how these skills tend to work. Let's give a bit of foresight, right? That's what I kind of want to use this for, actually. So what you'll find is when you pick up items, they'll have the sockets in, and the gems that you put in the sockets are what give you your skills. In addition to that, you're going to want to put stuff into items that support those skills. So I'm going to use this as an example because it's the strongest one that I have at the moment. I'm actually intending for the necromancer that we're going to build, or maybe this one later on we'll see, to use a bow and a quiver. I feel like that ends up coming out better, even if it's actually harder to do. Just because the colour of the gems, the colour of the sockets that you see there are actually linked to the stat requirement required to use them. Anyway, less of that. Let's keep with the simple stuff, right? So what you'll find is, let's say here, this is my summon raging spirit. So this is usually my attack skill, right? So this is what we're going to switch to shortly on the main character. When it's linked to all of this, look, I have things like spell echo. So as you can see on there, that makes it so that spells that are linked to this cast twice. Deal 10% less damage, but I'm willing to have 10% less damage for 68% more cast speed. That's because the more of these I get out, because I can have up to 20 of these at once, so the faster I get them out, the more damage they're going to do. So that's what I do. I kind of just stand there, pop a load of them out, and I can run around and just let them kill stuff. It's fine. And the same thing gets said about summon skeletons. I have both of these attached to this. I do things this way. I'm sure there's some people that are going to disagree with how I do this. Because often what people will do, they'll have one or two main skills, which gets the most linked skill gems to them. But I decided I kind of wanted to do summoning raging spirits and skeletons on one as my attack skills, so I can kind of drop them on stuff and then they attack stuff. And then I have rage zombies, and I will also have spectres in here. I actually have some already, but I will have spectres in here as well, which is another type of summon, which will have meat shield on, which will effectively protect me, and if anything gets too close, it'll do extra damage, which is kind of cool. The reason I've done it that way, you can actually go like sword and shield, but then you only get 3 slots on each, so that's a bit of a sacrifice. It's better if you want more supporting things for a main skill, but just bear in mind that generally you're going to want to kind of make sure you center around a theme to create a successful character. Sometimes it takes a bit of time to get the pieces that you need, but as we go forward with this summoner character, that's just not going to be a problem. So, I am going to go back to my character selection, go back to our level 2 witch here, and I'll end the video. I feel like 13 minutes for part 1 is not too bad. I'm going to try and keep these kind of short. We'll try and go through game mechanics as we come to them. Or maybe I'll separate them out from areas. In this next area, we're going to be going through the seeds, which you guys will see. Kind of interesting. Very good for crafting, but I feel like it's the kind of thing you want to do over time, just to make sure you're on top of it, and then that way it's better for you later on, which is the same with a lot of the League mechanics. So with all that said then, guys, that's going to be the end of this video, and I'll see you all